The next coming up is a great friend of mine. She's awesome. She's brilliant. Let's have a big, big welcome for Kim Diaz.
See this thing? I'm not used to this thing. I'm a drummer, I play drums. Anybody? Yeah! So this, I'm not used to. I'm used to sitting in the back, and like the strong silent type in the back. Behind a whole bunch of stuff. Behind an entire drum set and a band. So this isn't really doing it for me right here. It's not. I am not used to this. Yes, really, yeah. So, anyway. So I got an Italian mother. Any Italians in the house? Anybody? Yeah, good. 1, 2. Yeah. Well, you look at me and you wouldn't think that my mother is the way she is. She's an Italian woman, but she's like a little petite, little thing about this big, 5'2", and size 6, and she looks at me, she doesn't know how this happened. She really doesn't. She doesn't know how this came out of her, really. She has no idea. So I finally came out to her when I was about 30. In case you didn't know. Yeah, I mean, I came out to myself earlier, but her, I was 30, you know. By that time, everybody knew. Like, you know, my grandmother knew, the dog, my mother, everybody knew. So I come out to her and she says all the right stuff that you're supposed to say to your kid when they come out to you. She said, "You're still my daughter. I still love you. I just want everybody to be happy. I just want everybody to be happy. So I'm happy." And a few weeks after that, I'm over at her house. And she said to me something peculiar. She goes, "You know, the ice maker in the fridge, it's not working right. Do you think maybe you could have a look at it?" 30 years, she never asked me to have a look at anything. But I don't want to disappoint, so I said, yeah, I'll have a look at it real quick. Sure. So I open up the thing and I'm looking in there, I'm looking. I don't know what the hell I'm looking for, but I'm looking. And I don't know, finally I say to her, "You know, you need plumber's tape and you don't have any. I gotta go get some. I'll see you later. I'll be back." You know? 30 years out of my life. Everybody knows I can't put a nail in a wall. 3 weeks after I come out to her, I'm doing carpentry in her living room. And my mother's standing there going, "This is my daughter, the lesbian. She doesn't even know how to fix an ice maker. What's the use? What is the use?" So I was hanging out in a bookstore the other day, and I'm sitting in the cafe, and the table next to me is full of high school kids, and maybe seniors, maybe 17 years old, and they're in a study group, and they're talking about natural history and whatnot. And I hear one of them say, articulate kids, I hear one of them say, "Well, that individual was not evolutionarily significant." Kind of jumped out at me. As I go, when in the hell have I ever felt evolutionarily significant? It's hard enough to feel significant in any way, never mind evolutionarily. I mean, I've always thought, isn't it enough then maybe you just, you do some service to the time that you're in and then forget about it? Do you have to be evolutionarily significant? I mean, just because you don't procreate, you don't have children, I mean, your contribution is still important, right? Yeah, I would think. And then later on, this friend of mine said, what if you had to get married? What if it wasn't an option? What if you had to marry a man? And I said, well, first of all, I don't know who they're going to have to bribe to be my husband. Or what we're going to do walking down the street when people compliment him on what a ruggedly handsome wife he has. You know? And furthermore, I'm not going to cook and clean for any guy. I'm telling you that right now. The main reason for that is it just wouldn't sit well with me, you know? Just wouldn't sit well. But I kind of had, it just crossed my mind. I had to think about it because the other day I was working, I did this job with this guy who hired me. I'm a language interpreter, and this guy hired me. And at the end of the day, he's just showering me with compliments. He's just, oh, you're the best person I've hired so far, and please don't anybody send me anybody else but you, and yada, 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 yada. Nobody else but you. It's been years since I heard that, or any other compliment from, like, women, So it just had to cross my mind. And I'm looking at him, and it got weird for a second, and I'm looking at him, and I go, thinking to myself, I'm thinking, buddy, you're a great guy. It's too bad you're not a 5'11" brunette with, like, deep brown eyes you could drown in, And I was kind of glad that he didn't know what I was thinking. And I thought, well, maybe he's thinking the same thing. He's going, you're a terrific gal, but it's too bad you're not a 5'11" brunette with childbearing hips, for example. Where was I going after that? Anyway, so I feel like I'm missing something. Anyway, I was at this comedy show the other night. I was at the show.